Hello, everybody. It's Jenny here. And I just realized that this sweatshirt actually makes me look twice as wide. It is not very flattering, is it? At least not from here up. Maybe if you see the whole thing, it would be better. I don't know. It actually looks like I'm a linebacker and I have football pads on. I really like the sweatshirt too. The Browns. Okay. Today is day 3, or I've had 3 days of eating on P2. My weigh-in today was, you're not going to believe this, you're not going to believe it, 165.7. I lost 3 pounds on the scale today. Had a good eating day. I had just lettuce and my codfish. That's it. A little bit of salad dressing on the lettuce. I had a lot of lettuce. Probably at least 2 full romaine lettuce heads in a big bowl, 1 piece of codfish, which is 6 ounces. So I really didn't eat as much protein as I should have. That's the downside. But the scale is the upside. So I'm going to take it. So I'm 3 days in and I've lost 7.9 pounds and I love it. The most exciting part for me is to know that I'm 3 days in and I'm 10 pounds away from where my goal is before I go on my trip. I almost feel like I want to push up the goal. No, I shouldn't even say that. The trip is on the 28th. Yes, it's at 31 days. So, I still have 3 weeks to go before my trip. So I'm very excited about that. I hope I can keep the course. We'll see how it's going to go. What I was going to talk about today was actually a little bit more about plateaus because it kind of goes in line with what I talked about yesterday. I'm just finding stuff in the protocol that I never saw there before. So I talked yesterday about fluctuations in weight and how it was really interesting that if you go a couple days with essentially a stall, what is happening in your body and how you may have lost a bunch of weight, but your body's holding on to water when that weight is released for a short period of time, and eventually the water is released. So that's what causes the stall on the scale for a couple days. Now, Dr. Simeons also talks about 2 other types, and the plateau and reaching a former level. So I'm going to talk about the plateau because that's the next one in line in terms of how long. A plateau is usually between 4 and 6 days. Plateaus we all experience in life, don't we? Very common on the hCG diet. So I'm going to read to you about what he says about a plateau. The second type of interruption, okay, the first one we talked about yesterday, which is just like 2 to 3 day thing, is called a plateau. A plateau lasts 4 to 6 days. So it's a stall for 4 to 6 days. This frequently occurs during the second half of a full course. All right. So if you are going 21, the second half of your diet period is usually when plateaus happen, which I can completely identify with this. I agree 100%. This is me. All right. I want to make this bigger, but I'm waiting for a student who hasn't showed up, so I can't. All right. Sorry, it struggled to read the small print so I can keep the camera and see if the child appears. All right, particularly in patients that have been doing well and whose overall average of nearly a pound per effective injection has been maintained. So if you find yourself losing about a pound a day, then you can pretty much guarantee that you have a plateau in your future. Those who are losing more than average all have a plateau sooner or later. That's what I just said. A plateau always corrects itself. But many patients who have become accustomed to a regular daily loss get unnecessarily worried and begin to bet. I don't know what that means. Begin to bet. I don't know if that's a translation. I don't know. From Italian to English. Anyway, they get worried. No amount of explanation convinces them that a plateau does not mean that they are no longer responding normally to treatment. Okay, so he basically says we're all head cases. And, even though we were losing a whole bunch, especially the people who are losing pound a day, 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 and then all of a sudden have a 5-day plateau. You can try to reason with that person, but they don't want to hear it. That's human nature, right? In such cases, we consider it permissible for purely psychological reasons to break up this plateau. This can be done in 2 ways. Okay, so let's just marinate on that for a second. He's saying, okay, I'll help you break this plateau, but only because it's going to help you psychologically stick with the diet and continue on. Not because anything we're doing is actually triggering more fat loss or doing anything truly different in your body. So hear that. If you can, deal with it and just wait until you come out on the other side of the plateau. That's ideal. So here's stuff that you can do to break up that plateau if you need to. Okay, the first one is called the apple day. An apple day begins at lunch and continues until lunch the following day. The patients are given 6 large apples and are told to eat one whenever they feel the desire, though 6 apples is the maximum allowed. During an apple day, no other food or liquids except for plain water are allowed, and the water they drink should be just enough to quench an uncomfortable thirst. All right, if eating an apple a day still leaves them thirsty. Some people can get enough liquids from the actual apples that they don't need to drink much water. When I did my apple day, I did not find myself drinking a whole lot of water myself. And that's partly because the water doesn't satisfy me anyway. I really, truly have to be parched to want to drink water. Most patients feel no need for water and are quite happy with their 6 apples. I don't know why I embellish. He goes on and always says exactly what I'm going to say anyway. Probably because I read this first, so I have these ideas in my brain. I'm not saying I'm as smart as a doctor by any means. Okay. Needless to say, an apple day may never be given on the day in which there is no injection. All right. The apple day produces a gratifying loss of weight on the following day, chiefly due to, hear this, the elimination of water. The water is not regained when the patient resumes their normal 500-calorie diet at lunch, and on the following days, they continue to lose weight satisfactorily. Okay, so this is telling me since you lose the water weight and you don't really gain it back, that when he sees a plateau happening, it is your body again retaining water, which it will eventually on its own purge. But if you want to kickstart that purge, you can do it and do an apple day. So if you psychologically don't want to wait any longer, if you wait it out, then when you start to lose, the numbers are going to be bigger. If you don't wait it out, you can kickstart it and then just kind of continue on. In the end, it's all going to be the same, which is good to hear because I really did not enjoy doing my apple day when I did the apple day. I craved protein like you wouldn't believe. So there's no way I could have eaten all 6 of the apples either. I think I forced myself to eat 4 to 5. Maybe it was like 5 medium-sized ones, 4 large ones, I would say. That's about as much as I could eat because it's just like, who wants more apple? You can only eat so much apple. Okay. Where am I? Sorry about this. It's so tiny. I apologize. Let me. Examples, needless to say. Okay. The other way to break up a plateau is by giving non-mercurial diuretic for 1 day. This is simpler for the patient, but we prefer the apple day as we sometimes find that through the diuretic, it is very effective on the following day, but it may take 2 or 3 days before the normal daily reduction is resumed, throwing the patient into a new fit of despair. It is useless to give either apple day or diuretic unless the weight has been stationary for at least 4 days without any dietary error having been committed. All right, so he's saying don't do the apple day unless you go at least 4 days of eating perfectly on this diet and seeing no loss on the scale. then you do an apple day or the diuretic. But the diuretic tends to be a little bit more significant. And then the weight comes back, that it takes more water out than the apple does. And therefore, you may spiral and go through the cycle again because some of the weight might come back on, or you might hit yourself another stall. All right. So interesting the way he put it. I've done videos on the apple day. If you want to just watch a video on apple day, I have, I think, at least 2 of them. Some and previous rounds that I've done where I've talked about the apple day myself. But I'm just enjoying this part of the protocol because it's just talking about, hey, listen, this is going to happen. You're going to hit a stall. You're going to hit a plateau. It's okay. Just stick with it. It happens to everybody. And don't think that when you are actually in a stall or you're actually in a plateau that nothing is happening. That's the most important thing to take out of this. You are still losing weight even if the scale's not reflecting it because your body is adjusting with the whole water retention situation. Encouraging, isn't it? It really is. Okay, there's one more area of weight stalls that I'm going to talk about tomorrow, which I found fascinating too. Again, more information I didn't know. So stay tuned for that. I'll see you tomorrow. Let's do a little happy dance over the 3-pound loss. Now, today is Saturday. I find Saturdays and Sundays to be the hardest days to stay on the diet because everybody's home. There's lots of food around. I'm not on my regular schedule. Yeah. So a little discouraging that this is happening right after a 3-pound loss because I'm nervous about the next 2 days. I do much better Monday through Friday than I do on Saturday and Sunday, but we'll see. I really need to stick with it because Wednesday of this week is when I'm meeting my girlfriends at lunch. But I'll tell you what I did. I did text them and say, yep, it's still on. One of the gals said, are we still meeting Wednesday? And I said, we're still on, but I just started this diet, so I'm not going to be able to drink any alcohol, but I'll still be there and visiting with you all. I mean, I don't find the point of having alcohol at any meals if you're going to be driving anyway. When I drink with my girlfriends, we're either staying at a hotel or we're staying at somebody's house and crashing for the night. It's just a lot of money and calories for no effect, really. So I might as well just drink something diet with 0 calories that I enjoy tasting. I mean, I enjoy tasting the drinks that I order too, but for the amount of calories, is it worth it? It just isn't for me. I enjoy sometimes getting a little buzz on. Just makes all the jokes a little funnier, and I like to laugh and have a good time. And so I don't want to even get a little bit of a buzz on and then get into a car and drive. I just don't want to do it. So it's actually good now that I think about it, that I have this excuse to save myself a little bit of money and save myself a lot of calories, and hopefully do a little bit better on that diet on on Wednesday when I get together with my gal friends. Okay, that's all I'm going to talk about today. I'll come talk to you tomorrow, and we'll talk a little bit more about the 3rd kind of plateau that Dr. Simeons has in his protocol. All right, that's all for now. You take care. I will see you mañana. Goodbye.